Welcome back to Everyday English Talks. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jack. Hey guys, hope you're doing okay today.
So, today's topic is something I think we all struggle with. Like, way more than we admit.
Oh, that sounds a little too real already.
Yeah. We're talking about overthinking. You know, when something is actually simple, but your brain just keeps going.
Oh wow. Yeah, like replaying the same situation again and again.
Exactly. And somehow it just gets more complicated every time.
Yeah, oh man. I do that all the time. Like, something small happens, and suddenly it turns into this whole thing in my head.
Same. It's never just one thought. Right. It's like 10 thoughts, all at once.
Exactly. Like, okay, yesterday I sent a message to a friend. Just something simple. And they didn't reply for like 2 hours.
Oh no, I already know where this is going.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh, they're probably busy. Totally normal.
Right.
But then, 5 minutes later, I'm like, wait, what if I said something weird?
Yeah.
And then it gets worse. I start thinking, okay, maybe they're annoyed. Maybe they don't want to talk to me.
Oh wow. Yeah, that escalates fast.
So fast. And the crazy part is, nothing actually happened.
Exactly. It's all just in your head.
Yeah. And then, when they finally reply, it's just like, hey, sorry, I was busy.
And you're like, oh,
Yeah. And suddenly all that overthinking just disappears.
I hate that feeling. Because you realize you just spent all that time worrying for nothing.
Yeah. It's like your brain created a whole story that wasn't even real.
Exactly. And it always goes in a negative direction too.
Right. It's never like, oh, they're busy having a great day. It's always something bad.
Yeah, your brain goes straight to the worst case scenario.
And you just keep adding more and more details to it.
Until it feels completely real.
Yeah. And the worst part is, even when you know you're overthinking, you still can't stop.
That's so true. Like, there's a part of your brain that's like, okay, this is not logical, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It just keeps going anyway.
Exactly. It's like your brain just grabs onto one small thing and refuses to let go.
Yeah. And then it starts connecting it to other things that don't even make sense.
Like you go from one message to your entire friendship being in danger?
Laughs. Yeah. Exactly. That escalated way too fast.
It really does. And I think part of it is we just don't like uncertainty.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like, when something is unclear, like someone not replying your brain wants an answer.
Right. It wants to fill in the gap.
Exactly. And instead of waiting, it just makes something up.
And usually, it makes up the worst possible explanation.
Of course. Because your brain is trying to protect you.
Protect me from what, though? A late reply.
Laughs. Yeah. It sounds silly, but your brain sees uncertainty as a potential threat.
Hmm. So it's like, let's assume the worst, just in case.
Exactly. Because if you expect something bad, you won't be surprised if it happens.
Wow. Okay. That's actually kind of smart.
It is, but it's also really unhelpful in everyday situations.
Yeah, because most of the time, nothing bad is actually happening.
Right. But your brain doesn't wait to check that.
It just jumps straight to conclusions.
Exactly. And then you start reacting to something that isn't even real.
Yeah, like feeling anxious, stressed for no reason.
Mmm. And it can go on for hours sometimes.
Or even days.
Yeah? And by the time you realize it, you're like, wait, why was I even worried about that?
Yeah, it feels so obvious afterwards.
But in the moment, it feels completely real.
Yeah, like you're convinced something is wrong.
Exactly. And I think another reason we overthink is we want control.
Hmm, what do you mean?
Like, if you think about something enough, you feel like you're doing something about it,
Oh yeah, that's true.
even if you're not actually solving anything. It feels like you are.
Yeah, it feels productive in a weird way.
Exactly. But in reality, you're just going in circles.
Yeah, same thoughts, over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And no real answer at the end?
Yeah. So I guess what we're talking about here is basically overthinking. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think it's one of those words people use all the time without really thinking about what it actually means.
That's true. Like, we say, I'm overthinking, but what are we actually doing?
Exactly. So I think, in simple terms, overthinking is when you think about something way more than you need to.
Mmm, like going beyond what's useful.
Yes, instead of solving a problem, you just keep analyzing it again and again.
Yeah, and it doesn't lead anywhere.
Exactly. It just creates more confusion.
And usually more stress too?
Definitely. Because you're not just thinking, you're imagining, guessing, sometimes even creating problems that don't exist.
Yeah, that part is scary,
Mm-hmm. Because it feels real in the moment.
right? Your brain doesn't tell you, hey, this is just imagination.
Exactly. It just gives you thoughts, and you believe them.
So it's not really about thinking itself being bad.
It's about how much and how you think.
Yeah, like thinking is useful, but overthinking is just too much.
Exactly. It's like your brain doesn't know when to stop.
And it keeps going even when there's no new information.
Mm-hmm. Just repeating the same thing in different ways.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. Yeah, okay. So if overthinking is basically thinking too much, then why do we do it so often?
Yeah. That's the real question. Because clearly, it's not helping us.
Not at all. If anything, it just makes everything worse.
Exactly. So I think one big reason is we want certainty,
Hmm, yeah, that makes sense.
like when something is unclear, your brain feels uncomfortable.
Right. It doesn't like not knowing.
Exactly. So it tries to figure it out, even when there's nothing to figure out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's so true.
Like with your message example, you didn't know why your friend didn't reply,
Yeah,
so your brain started creating possibilities.
and all of them were negative.
Of course, because your brain is trying to prepare you for the worst.
Yeah, like a defense mechanism.
Exactly. It's like, if we think about all the bad possibilities now, we won't be surprised later.
Wow, that sounds smart, but also kind of exhausting.
It is, because most of those possibilities aren't even real.
Yeah, so you're basically stressing over imaginary problems.
Exactly. And then there's another reason I think it's control.
Control.
Yeah? Like, when you think about something over and over, it feels like you're doing something about it.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Even if you're not actually solving anything, it gives you this illusion of control.
Yeah, like, at least I'm thinking about it.
Exactly. But in reality, you're just stuck in the same loop.
Yeah, same thoughts. New progress.
Mm-hmm. And that leads to another thing, fear of making the wrong decision.
Oh, that one is big.
Yeah. Like, you think if you analyze everything enough, you'll make the perfect choice.
Yeah. Like there's a right answer somewhere.
Exactly. But most of the time, there isn't a perfect answer.
Yeah, it's just a choice.
Right. But overthinking makes it feel like a huge, life-changing decision.
Even when it's something small.
Exactly. Like choosing what to say. Or what to do next.
Yeah. Suddenly, it feels like everything matters too much.
Mm-hmm. And that pressure just makes you think even more.
Which makes it worse.
Exactly. It's like a cycle.
Yeah. Overthinking creates stress. And stress creates more overthinking.
Right. And then there's one more thing I think is really important, past experiences.
Hmm. Like what?
Like, if something went wrong before, your brain remembers it.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
So next time, it tries to avoid that situation by thinking more.
Like, let's not mess this up again.
Exactly. But instead of helping, it just makes you more anxious.
Yeah. Because you're trying too hard to control everything.
Mm-hmm. And life doesn't really work like that.
Yeah. You can't control every outcome.
Exactly. But your brain still tries.
So basically, uncertainty, control, fear, and past experiences.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong combination.
No wonder overthinking feels so hard to stop.
Exactly. It's not just a habit, it's how your brain is trying to protect you.
Yeah. It's just doing it in a very unhelpful way. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm thinking, how many people listening are doing this right now?
Laughs. Probably a lot. Like, someone listening is overthinking something as we speak.
Yeah. Maybe a text they haven't sent yet.
Or something they said earlier today, replaying it again and again.
Oh, yeah. The classic why did I say that moment.
Mm-hmm. And then you start analyzing every little detail.
Yeah. Tone. Words. Timing. Everything.
Exactly. So if you're listening and thinking, wow, that's literally me.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone.
Not at all. This is something almost everyone deals with.
Yeah, we're all just overthinking together. Yeah, okay. So now we understand why we overthink. But how do we actually stop?
Um, yeah, that's the hard part. Because you can't just tell your brain, hey, stop thinking.
Yeah, if it were that easy, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly. So I think the first thing is you don't try to stop it completely.
Hmm, what do you mean?
Like, instead of fighting your thoughts, you just notice them.
Notice them.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'm overthinking right now. Just that.
Oh, so you kind of step back a little.
Exactly. You create a small distance between you and your thoughts.
That actually sounds simple, but probably not easy.
Yeah, it takes practice. But even just noticing, it helps break the loop.
Because you're not completely lost in it anymore.
Right. And then, another thing that helps is asking yourself a simple question.
Okay, what kind of question?
Is this helpful?
Oh, that's good.
Like, if you're thinking about something again and again, ask yourself, is this helping me solve anything?
And most of the time, the answer is no.
Exactly. And when you realize that, it's easier to let it go.
Yeah, because you see, it's just a loop, not a solution.
Right. And I think another really practical thing is take action.
Hmm, action.
Yeah. Because overthinking usually happens when you're not doing anything,
Oh, that's so true.
like you're just sitting there thinking and thinking and thinking.
Yeah, stuck in your head.
Exactly. So instead, you do something small,
Like what?
like if you're overthinking a message, just send it.
Laughs. That's terrifying.
I know, but it works.
Yeah, because once you act, the thinking stops.
Exactly. Action breaks the cycle,
I like that.
and it doesn't have to be big, just something small to move forward.
Yeah, even a tiny step is better than staying stuck.
Exactly. And over time, your brain learns that you don't need to think about everything so much.
Yeah, you just do it.
Right. And honestly, most of the time, things turn out fine.
Yeah, way better than what we imagined. Yeah, I like that idea, just doing something instead of thinking forever.
Mm-hmm. But I also think we should say this overthinking isn't always a bad thing.
Oh, really? Because it feels pretty bad most of the time.
Laughs. Yeah, I know. But thinking carefully can actually be useful.
Hmm. Like when you need to make an important decision.
Exactly. Like planning something, solving a problem, or thinking before you speak.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to just act without thinking at all.
Right. So it's not about stopping thinking, it's about knowing when to stop.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense.
Like, there's a point where thinking is helpful, and then there's a point where it just becomes too much.
Yeah, like crossing a line.
Exactly. And I think the problem is we don't always notice when we cross that line.
Yeah, it just slowly turns into overthinking.
And suddenly you're stuck.
So I guess the goal isn't to never overthink.
It's to catch it early.
Yeah, before it gets out of control.
Exactly. And also to be a bit kinder to yourself.
Yeah, that's important.
Like, instead of thinking, why am I like this?
You just accept it a little.
Right. Because everyone overthinks. Sometimes it's normal.
Yeah, we're all just dealing with our brains. Yeah, okay. So now I feel like next time I start overthinking, I should at least catch it early.
That's already a big step. Just noticing it.
Yeah, and maybe not go all the way into that spiral.
Exactly. Just pause for a second and ask, do I really need to think about this more?
Yeah, I like that.
So maybe if you're listening right now, think about one thing you've been overthinking lately.
Yeah, something small.
And instead of thinking about it again, maybe just take one action.
Even a tiny one.
Exactly. Because most of the time, it's not as complicated as it feels.
Yeah, it's just our brain making it bigger than it is.
All right, before we finish, let's go over a few useful words from today.
Yeah, we use some really practical ones.
First, overthink. It means thinking about something too much, more than necessary.
Then we have uncertainty, when you're not sure about something.
Assume to believe something is true without proof.
Control the feeling that you can manage or influence a situation.
And pattern something that repeats again and again.
Also realize when you suddenly understand something.
All right, that's it for today.
Thanks so much for listening.
And remember, not every thought needs your attention.
Sometimes it's okay to just let it go.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.